it's your junior year in college. You decide to sacrifice your social and personal time in order to work 5 days a week. Now imagine not getting paid for all your hard work and sacrifices, especially during a time that you're submerged in student loans. According to a 2018 survey by the National Association of Colleges and Employees, 43% of internships were unpaid. I'm Diana Perez, and I plan to talk about unpaid internships and why they're problematic, and would like for my audience to seek change as evidenced by signing a petition letter. Now, if you're taking this college class, then there is a high chance that you're trying to pursue higher education after high school. Some colleges require you to take internships for education of credit, and even if that is not the case, when applying for a job, you'll be competing against other people. You should listen to me because I'm a high school senior trying to further my education after high school, and being conscious about my near future has made me interested in knowing more about internships and made me realize that I cannot afford to work for free when I'm in college. Now, if you're taking this college class, then there is a high chance that you're trying to pursue a higher education after high school. Some universities require you to take internships in order to receive educational credit. Even if that is not the case, internships help students and young professionals gain experience and make connections in the fields that they're interested in. It becomes quite necessary to take internships because when applying for a job, you'll be competing against other individuals that have that experience. Unfortunately, many other Americans will go through a similar problem with unpaid internships if this problem doesn't get solved. This is why unpaid internships should be closely monitored in order to prevent interns from getting exploited. Furthermore, now that I have explained what unpaid internships are, allow me to elaborate into why unpaid internships are problematic. Unpaid internships perpetuate socioeconomic inequality because those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds cannot afford to work for free. Pro-profit companies are exploiting interns and using them as unpaid employees that perform menial work with little educational value, which should be the purpose of internships in the first place. Many well-known media and entertainment companies such as Fox Searchlight Pictures, Warner Music, and NBC Universal have been sued by unpaid or underpaid interns. These are some of the rare cases in which interns decide to take legal action. Some of them don't speak out because they're afraid of losing that letter of recommendation that they have been working for all along. Not to mention that interns are not considered employees under the law because they don't receive a salary. They cannot sue their employers for if they're being harassed or discriminated against. We have seen in the movies how interns are treated poorly and are asked to do menial tasks with little educational value, such as making copies or bringing coffee. Sadly, movies are not quite far from reality. Take, for instance, Dana John, a senior at New York University, who spent her summer photocopying, filing, and answering routine emails for her boss. Thousands of similar stories, such as the one of David Hyde, who became an international media sensation. Hyde, a 22-year-old from New Zealand, was interviewed by the United Nations, and he was asked if he could afford to live in Geneva for 6 months, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Hyde lied and said that he could afford to live there because he was planning on making a documentary on the subject and knew that if there was an unpaid intern living in a tent outside of the United Nations, that would be scandalous and spread awareness. No matter how good the purpose of an organization is, such as the United Nations, who seeks to fight for human rights and equality, it doesn't change the fact that interns still need to pay their bills. The injustices of unpaid internships still affect most of you. You guys that are listening could be taken advantage in the future when you plan to take an unpaid internship in order to fill your curriculum. Even if that is not the case, you may be asking yourself, why should I even care? I'm not even planning to take an internship. Well, even if you're not planning to do so, your opportunity to get an entry-level job could be taken by an unpaid intern. Moving on, now that I have stated how my audience is affected by unpaid internships, I'm going to propose some solutions. The best way to prevent interns from being exploited is by allowing universities to monitor unpaid internships meant for educational credit, or for there to be a permanent system of training for those not affiliated with educational institutions. According to the Canadian Law Work Forum, colleges should develop a code of conduct in which they set guidelines for unpaid educational internships. They should set guidelines regarding the maximum number of hours that interns should be working and what type of work that they should be performing, as well as ensuring that health and safety laws apply. The code then set by universities should be sent to businesses and signed in an agreement. For unpaid internships not affiliated with universities or other educational institutions, it should be a similar process, but instead of the university setting the guidelines, it should be the states that take that oversight role. If there are strict regulations making sure that unpaid internships are educational, then companies won't be using interns as unpaid employees. And if they choose not to abide by the guidelines, they will be forced to pay their interns. Now allow me to give a visual representation of what it would be like if the problem related to unpaid internships was solved. If there are no paid internships, then talented people from all economic backgrounds will receive these opportunities. In addition, with less unpaid internships, there will be more jobs that were previously replaced by those unpaid workers. Not to mention that there will be more motivated and dedicated individuals that will take their job more seriously since their salary is at stake. However, if nothing changes and unpaid internships continue to be popular within the workforce, businesses will continue exploiting interns, and interns will lack protection. Now that I have discussed a viable solution to ending unpaid internships, now I will inform you about a way in which you can personally act and change. I encourage you all to go to the website paytheinterns.com and sign the petition letter that is available. It would be awesome if with all the information that you learned today, you are willing to call your elected representative from Congress and tell them why you feel that unpaid internships are unfair. In conclusion, unpaid internships are unethical and perpetuate socioeconomic inequality. They also allow businesses to exploit interns as unpaid workers. This is why we need to change the system. Unpaid internships need to be closely monitored if we want to thrive economically and ethically. I hope that my speech made you realize that unpaid internships are a huge problem in our society. Don't allow yourself to be that intern that works for free and sacrifices all their personal and social time. As Barack Obama said, we are the ones we're waiting for. We're the change that we seek. Thank you.